So good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to our special March webinar from the ICF Chennai chapter. I'm Aishwarya Shah, and I head the Learning and Development portfolio for the chapter. And so today, nothing less than a super exciting topic. So we're really going to be looking at organizational and executive coaching and sourcing all of this from a systemic lens. I'm sure many of us are really intrigued to check and see how does all of this really play together, and that's what we really are here for. Just a few requests before I really introduce, who's going to be leading the webinar today. Uh, as much as possible, do keep your cameras on, as long as the bandwidth really allows and your situation allows that. And yeah, please jump in with your views, your questions. Our eyes are in the chat box. So let's just flow with this. I'm super excited with my little conversation with Claire that I really had yesterday as to what's going to really unfold. So hoping that it's really going to be a valuable experience for all of us. And so we have, two very distinguished leaders who are going to be leading us through this webinar. So we have Dr. Clare Beckett-McInroy. I don't know what to say in introduction and what I'm going to miss out. Claire, please watch. Okay, yeah, because your credentials are quite huge there. So yes, a co-founder and the past vice president of ICF Bahrain, co-founder and just past president of ICF Doha. Claire, did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, and an EMCC master practitioner and an accredited supervision, a coach supervisor. So that author of Coach Me, networking know-how. I'm really intrigued about this title, Claire. Really want to know more about this. I mean, and also author of reflection coaching. So, uh, what should I say from Claire? From what I've really understood about you, you do a lot of work in the space of culture transformation, um, executive coaching, leadership facilitation, as well as coaching, team systemic coaching. So a lot of these, very practical things, and we're really looking forward to really know, more about all of this. And we definitely have, Sameera with us, Sameera Alibaba. Sameera, so exciting to really know 22 years of wide, expansive experience. What is it? Everything from customer service to being a leader yourself, to business development, to facilitating, to training, marketing. Wow. Sameera, really, really looking forward. And yeah, so I think we are in for exciting times. And by the way, this is the brief of the introduction that I'm giving about our two leaders today. We're really hoping to know more about you, just as you take us through the session. So I'm guessing we're all in for a very, very exciting journey today. Over to you.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you to ICF Chennai Charter Chapter for inviting us to speak to you about systemic coaching and executive organizational coaching. And the way we're going to start this is we invite you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and just think of yourself wherever you are. Think of yourself and your breathing, and think of the systems in your body. We've got the digestive system, the endocrine system, the immune system, all working together. And then go a little further afield into you in the physical space you're in. And then wider still Be that touching into you, considering your family, friends, community, even your pets, and then colleagues and teams, the societies, the organisations that you're involved in, the village or town where you live. And then the way all of that makes up the country that you're in. And then further afield into this nested system, a system full of systems, the way the countries are together, the interaction, the camaraderie, and everything else that's there in that system. And then that goes further afield, zoom out to see our world, and even further still into the solar system with all its different parts, and beyond, and what we don't even know about. And then just very quickly zoom back in into the solar system, into our world, into your continent, into your country, into your town, into your village, into wherever you are physically in this world right now, into the people and friends and family and community and colleagues, and into you. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So if anyone would like to take their mics off or comment in the chat, what do you now know about systems? What are you experiencing right now? What has that activity uncovered for you? Let's hear. Connectedness. Absolutely. A speck of dust, amazing interconnections, intersections. Part of the whole. Part of the larger whole, absolutely. So sometimes people come to, the interconnectedness in all of us. Sometimes people come to our coach training and they say, I do not know or understand, or I'm not able to apply, or I cannot define what is a systemic focus in coaching. So see this, imagine the wide angle lens on your phone or your camera. And in essence, that's what it's about. Seeing all the parts and the wholes together, and the way that they interact, and the shifts that are needed for them to work more efficiently, effectively, on purpose, with focus. And so that is the introduction to our session today. And we invite you also, have a think about your intention for giving up your time to attend today. What do you want to leave with? What were you curious about when you signed up for this specific webinar? Take yourself off mute, blurt it out in a nutshell, or write that in the chat and let's see what we've got out there. To come with an intention and begin with the end in mind is always a powerful way to be. Anyone like to share or to post in the chat? What do you want to leave with? Sameera, what would you like to leave with today?
So, I for years I had this idea of going for a tour in India, right? And when we designed this whole initiative and engagement with ICF Chennai, I was like, I want to go to Chennai. So with this experience, what I want to leave with is, I want to feel that what I'm learning from being in Chennai today. So this is my learning.
Thank you. And there's a few comments in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Experience, knowledge, and behaviors. Oh, fabulous. Yep. What are the appropriate behaviors or the most effective behaviors for working with executives and tapping into the systems knowledge? Rain check. Yeah.
Connectivity. And we have connect with my community of coaches to have an understanding of systemic coaching for our organization.
Brilliant. Meet fellow coaches, absolutely. And you will get to meet them in a little bit of a smaller group as well, Kurt. So here we are. We are not going to read this line for line. You will get the slides later. This is Sameera. I call her the queen of the most efficient and effective ways to work with fun online with executives and teams. She's an absolute rock star at online tools, and you'll see some of that today. And then here is a little bit about me. You've got your queen hat on, fabulous. A little bit about me. And again, we won't read it all, but the reason we feel it's important to share those slides and this type of thing, to get those big engagements, to break into executive coaching, you need the authority. I am here, and it's not arrogance. I have these qualifications and experience. Trust in me to enable you to be at your best. That's the type of authority that's needed for example, life coaches to step into the world of organizations and enterprises. And then, of course, it's also about the presence, the way we are as coaches, right from the get-go, those initial engagements when we're scoping the projects and really trying to get to the nitty-gritty of understanding, what does this leader share that they want, but what does this leader share that they need? And what ways can I serve not just them, but their teams, their internal stakeholders, the finance department, procurement, the marketing department, and beyond, all the way out to their clients, their suppliers out there in the world, the governments, the regulatory authorities. We're tapping again into the needs of the whole system. And that's the way executive coaching needs to take place. So here we have just some of the many, we've got slides and slides on this, some of the many different types of coaching that takes place in organizations. Have a think, which of those are you aware of? Which terminology is unusual to you? There's many others as well, you know, rising stars, underperformance, things that we tend to think of. So many different ways to coach groups on action learning projects and facilitate that process as well. So there's just a little taste of the different types of organizational coaching. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask the team at ICF Chennai to put you into breakout rooms of about 4, just randomly. And here, you may want to take a screenshot. Here is your question. And we'll give you about 7-8 minutes on this. So number 1, for Kurt and everyone else, you can introduce each other and get a bit of connection going. And then come back with some answers to this. What are the pressure points that organizational leaders face right now in our world? no matter where they are in the world. And some parts of the world, there's different pressures than others. And some fields, you know, the field of medicine, the health services at the moment are under even more pressure, in hospitality. So in breakout rooms, what are the pressure points that organizational leaders are facing right now? Are you ready?
Yeah. Claire, just a quick clarity. How many people are you recommending per room?
Around 4, that's absolutely fine. 4 or
Okay.
5.
And how much time?
Let's say 7 minutes. I like odd numbers.
Perfect. Okay. So here we go.
We'll see you shortly. There are always maybe some people who are driving and listening that can't go into the rooms, etc.
Yes. Yes.
Zoom has an option to push the people in without them accepting it, so they can just, you know, they're pushed and they cannot come out as well.
Yes.
So Sameera, I've spoken a lot so far. When we come back, should we go to Miro and we'll look at
Yes,
the
we can do that. Yeah.
and we'll get them to write down what
Yes.
they've got from their group, and we can just blurt it all together. How does that sound?
That's great. Yeah.
Great. So when we get back, it's over to you. I do like that picture of that lens. I think the colors are beautiful.
Yeah, you have it on Miro as well.
Fabulous. I think the first breakouts always need that bit longer as well, for people to just say hello. Abby Mayer, do you want to go to, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's going to, and Khaled's here twice, so that's probably his other.
Yes,
device.
I think one
Yeah.
of Khalid has gone, and yes.
Yeah. I'm just checking the rooms, so each room at least has 2 active members.
Yep. Looks
Great.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
we've got one unassigned participant.
yeah, I'll shift the ones. Oh, you already did. Great. And I'll do a broadcast with the question, so everybody will receive it again. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
There's so many times I've gone into breakout rooms and what is it? I was listening to the question, but you get there and you say introductions and then you forget what the question was.
True.
Should we stop recording just for now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to pause it. Yeah.
Great.
Perfect. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Oh, Kriti, I like the butterflies on the wall.
Thank you. That's the only wall which is intact in my house. Otherwise, my son plays football inside the house.
Oh, gosh. No
That's
football
also-
against the butterflies.
That's also broken somewhere down bottom. You can't see that.
And everyone's coming back.
Welcome back.
So we challenge you to the person in the room who feels that they need to jump right into feeding back, take the helm, step into your authority, take your mic off and just share in a nutshell what went on in your breakout room. Who's going first?
Okay, this is Natarajan here. We had Uday, Priya, and Anu in our room. We were discussing about, there were 3 or 4 points that we were discussing. The ability to connect with the team members is one of the challenges that leaders are facing. Then there was about volatility and uncertainty of the second wave and the challenges that is associated with it. Then the other point that we discussed was lack of boundaries, work spilling into home, and no time limits, the meaning for what for we are working, quite a lot of challenges that we are facing. Then the last one was, okay, once again, because of the second wave, some of the sectors which I am associated with, education, we just started the colleges and we started having face-to-face classes, and now we had been asked to go back to online.
Yeah.
So all the schedules, everything is going for a toss. So these are some of the challenges that we face, that leaders are facing currently in the organizations.
Thank you so much, Natrajan.
Thank you.
So something that came up for me there is what happens in one system totally spills over into another system. You know, whether we're working from home, what's going on here, we can't just compartmentalize and then go be with those other people in our lives. So thank you. Anyone else? What are the, I challenge the other groups now, when you feed back, if they've already said it, that's okay. You say the additional things just for the sake of time.
All right, Claire, I'll go next. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
All right, Siddhi here. I'll go next. I was in breakout room 8 with Naura and Karthik. And here are some of the things that came up for us. We said that there is an impact on the global leader on performance and managing performance. It is a VUCA world, so there is a lot of uncertainty. And because of that uncertainty, there is also a reduction. There's a not knowing, you know, you just don't know. And that not knowing also causes a reduction in their ability to influence outcomes, something that leaders, you know, earlier knew the landscape and they could influence outcomes in certain ways and certain known, through certain known systems and frameworks, but now there is a sense that they're unable to do so. It is a very challenging and demanding environment. And because of that, there's also a lack of, or not lack of, but there is a feeling that there's not enough resilience to go through this. There is a need for extra compassion and consideration, and that requires leaders to sort of really go deep inside and pull some of those resources out. And therefore, there's also a sense of not feeling resourceful enough, like, how do I deal with this? How can I manage this? You know, that sort of indicates possibly a feeling of, you know, not having the resources. There's a need for emotional intelligence that has gone up a lot because the impact is on an entire system, and therefore there's no let up anywhere. There is also a collective grief, because leaders are also being impacted at an emotional level by what their team members are going through. And it's painful. I mean, for business reasons, you may need to cut jobs, you may need to reduce salaries. And while your cognitive brain does that, while you sort of consciously take those decisions, it does impact at an emotional level, it impacts. And then there is a collective grief, possibly of people who have lost family members and all of that. And there's a need to take the time to rebalance, you know, that's being felt very strongly. So these were the main points that we discussed in our room. Thank you.
Fabulous. You lot worked hard. And I especially love the stuff around resilience and the fact we need healthy organizations. Thank you. Brilliant points. Who's next?
Okay, I can go next.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kurt and me were in a room. Of course, we had Anita also. One thing that very strongly came out is pre-COVID and post-COVID, one thing that leaders always had a challenge, or if I can call it a pressure point, using your word, is how to you know, help individuals or teams stay connected with the larger goals of the organization. How do we align individual goals and organizational goals? And this has become even more of importance post-COVID because most of them work out of home. How do we help them see that they are part of the whole and they're not silos or individual contributors? So this is one thing. And of course, Kurt was talking about conflict resolution, and he was working for the World Bank, and he spoke about how there are sexual harassment and conflict resolutions that come up for resolution. And we were just connecting it back to that. I think because most of the times, the larger the organization, it becomes even more difficult for people to see the larger picture all the time and get reminded about it. So they either work as individuals or they would just work as teams and not stay connected with the whole.
Absolutely. And it's making me think about the, you know, the way that it's that bit more difficult, or we need different approaches to be able to deal with this stuff when we've got dispersed teams. And the other thing to remember though is dispersed teams, it's not new. You know, in India, the tech companies globally, they've been doing online teaming for so many years. Leaders have been leading dispersed teams in Lego for so many years and many other global companies. Thank you, really good stuff. Any other things that we need to blurt now before we move on from the other teams?
Hi, Claire.
I'll go
Kiva
next, Claire.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, you can. Okay.
So Kiva and then Kriti.
Thanks, Claire. Hi from Ireland. Nice to meet you all. Hi. I was in a lovely group with Bhaskar, Chandra, and Sausan, and we had a lovely discussion. And our running theme that seemed to underpin everything was the whole theme of uncertainty, which I think has already been said. But Bhaskar made the point that regardless of whether it's a large organization or an SME, which he sometimes works with as well, he can really see the effects of uncertainty in the leaders. So we were talking about that for a while. And Bhaskar made an excellent point about leaders being very concerned about psychological safety for themselves, but mainly obviously for their employees. We spoke around that. And Sausan brought up a lovely point about communication. So leaders are very concerned, obviously some of this has been said, but very concerned about communication with their own peers and their employees. And I think we were coming from the perspective of how do we keep that sense of belonging alive? So, you know, just those extra communications that we're used to with our peers, with our colleagues, how do we keep that alive with this virtual world that we're in? And then Sausan also made a really good point about what happens when we come back from COVID. So this seems to be on all the leaders' minds as well at the moment. So that was our group.
Brilliant. And it's the new normal. It will never be the same again. So what way can we as coaches support leaders to support their teams and beyond? Brilliant. So thank you, Kiva. Kriti, anything else to add? And then
yes, so most of the things have been discussed around COVID, which we discussed. Other thing that we talked about, you know, it was me, Abhimanyu, and Katie in the room. The disruptive business models, which are changing faster than, you know, even we can think of. And coincidentally, Abhimanyu and you know, myself, we both are in the IT industry, and we can see change coming faster than we expected. Skills becoming obsolete very, very quickly, even before you realize, you know, you need to upskill your workforce. Agile way of working. Agile is not only an IT jargon, even in support, we are told to build that agile mindset. And job security is one point that Abhimanyu brought in, especially among senior leaders, because if you don't change with the changes, the role can be easily replaced by somebody who can do the job at half the cost. And generation gap, because we are adding millennial at a very faster rate to our workforce. So these were new things that came up, especially keeping the leadership thing in mind, which is what you
Yeah.
gave as a discussion
Brilliant.
point.
Thank you so much. This is such rich data. And, you know, I've been scribbling all sorts myself. So I'm an Agile certified coach. Sameera is a Scrum Master, and we really have shifted our ICF programs to include all of that in terms of what ways can organizations work with agility. But even more than that, I just posted today actually on LinkedIn an article about our model and the way it links with the Agile methodology. So I'll share the link round later, because it is definitely the way to go. And like you said, it's not, oh, there's the link. And like you said, it's not just tech. So 3 more slides from me, and then over to Sameera, and we're going to have a quiz. So we've looked at that and we got so much from there. There's just a few things that we blurted together this morning. Cracks in supply chains, you know, even just thinking of the vaccine alone, and there's that fear in so many ways in terms of, you know, and will it be needed in 6 months' time again? So much for us all to think about right now, and things we've not necessarily had to consider before. So here's a few things. I'm going to start at the bottom here. What's the place of diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, mental health and well-being, social responsibility, and all the other things in the ecosystem in everyday coaching? And some people used to say ICF absolutely non-directive. I was trained that way as well. And yet, looking at the new competencies, it is okay to share stories of your experience briefly if it's in service of the client. And I guarantee that every coaching session with leaders has got some of that stuff in. It is not directing a conversation. It's uncovering what's already there that may not have been considered, that needs to be looked at from different perspectives. And that is also tapping into the whole system and all the different nuances and scripts and so many things. The parallel processes, what's happening here is happening here. The transference from the leader to the team in terms of stress and worry. And then going up, what are the emerging ways to ensure virtual and dispersed teams stay connected? And what is the role of the leader in that? And what way can teams share leadership and have each other's back even more? Because that's what we need. What ways can a future back approach be deployed? So that is what's needed in the future, and what way can leaders ensure that their people are being aware of that, focusing on that and tapping into the emerging future right now. Focus on the outside in. That's a systemic focus. What do our clients and customers need us to be coached upon today? That's very different than the old paradigm of what do you want coaching on? And notice I use the word need. What do you need to be coached on to serve your stakeholders most effectively? What ways are the needs of various stakeholder groups addressed? So, last slide from me for now. Anyone can hold the helm when the sea's calm. We are not working with leaders on the whole at the moment where the sea is calm. And this is why this is powerful work. And myself and Sameera were chatting this morning, and it's uncovering things. For example, are you feeling that you've got enough skills, knowledge, and the right behaviors to support the leaders in organizations? What areas do you need to upskill in to be able to be at your best for them? We totally advocate, whether it's systemic team coaching or executive coaching or enterprise organizational coaching, you get the foundations first and master them, and then move up into the more complex, ambiguous world of leadership and systemic team coaching. And with that in mind, we're moving to Sameera for a quiz to just see what's your business acumen like for this type of work. Over to you, Sameera.
So I've pasted a link in the chat. Use that link to go to the Google form and try to answer those questions. Right? And while they're doing that there, let's have some discussion around what's going on and how it's relevant, because we need to understand, like, the environment that we are working in today is called a complex environment, where more is unknown than known, and more things that are out of control than things that are in control. Right? So when we talk about the leadership and their challenges, the leaders' challenges in organizations, startups, NGOs, is having that mental agility and mental toughness to cope with that, to cope with the unknown. There, where the agile mindset and the agile way of work, the wow factor, comes in. Right? What we are seeing is a lot of coaches that to have it as a sub or side competency, ability to run the process of coaching using agile methodologies, such as Scrum. Right? So yeah, that's one way of looking at it. So let's go back to the Chennai quiz and let's see how many answers we have. We didn't time it for them. Yeah.
That picture of the life raft looks pertinent.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when we talk about how do you feel today, what was required, and who's on the boat and who's off the boat and who's looking at the boat from outside, that's one of the ways actually we do reflections with the team leader or the entire team sometime.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's hanging on to the boat for dear life?
Mm-hmm.
And what way can we support them? And
Yep.
what is it in the system that needs to change for even more support?
And also, where is the original boat? Right? Where is it? And who's still there?
Where do we all need to jump to together to move forward?
Mm-hmm.
People are losing their companies.
Right. So
Yay,
7
we've got some
responses.
answers.
Yeah. All right. Remember, we don't get your names, so it's okay.
I did put a few funny ones in there as well. I hope you got my humor. So prizes are, we have 3 prizes, and the prizes are, you get a complimentary place on our next training, which is next month, for the TAP 360, the Team Advanced Profile, which is a team level profile, and it includes data from the leader on the team performance and impact. The training is actually 5 CCE. There's an hour assessment, so you can just attend before CCE, or you can do the assessment and become a professional user. That's actually been used in Lego and numerous other organizations. So we will work out
to scare you.
way.
Yeah, I would not scare you because we don't have their names, but you would know who scored full 8 out of 8. And you'll tell us in the chat, right? So far, we don't have anyone who scored 8 out of 8. Let me just go through
the way we can do it, we can even look at the recording, and we can look at the first 8 people to join, 3 people to join today. We'll think of a fair way to give out the prize.
Okay.
How we done, Sameera?
So we have 21 responses, and yeah, more or less 7 out of 8.
Should we run through the answers?
Yeah, so you can go with the questions first. Let's go. What is an alliance in business coaching context? So the correct answer is way of working. Right? And what is the stakeholders? What do you think? You can put it in the chat now. I got 8 out of 8. Yes, we have one winner. Great. Done, Kanan. The answer to the second question, what is a stakeholder? A, B, C, D? A.
Ta-da! Well
done. Well done. 3, what is a benchmark? Question 3. Yep.
Protein shake, nice.
What is a bottleneck? Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Oh, everyone knew
Perfect.
that
Well,
one.
they're great. What is a gross profit? A profit that is stinky. Number 6. What are organizational values? And I can hear some, the points, kind of like a melody in the backside. Great. Number 7. What is contracting? Yeah, I knew. Yes, it's an ongoing thing. Excellent. And the last one, what is team coaching? Right. So Claire, what do you? By the time
Okay. So there's just one thing here. I've put in the chat there. Oh, I haven't pressed send. There you go. A, B, C, D, E, F. If there's one thing you take away today, take away the alphabet. Always be contracting. Always be contracting and deliberately fostering ethics. So contracting is not that thing that you do that's written at the start and it goes via procurement. It's actually the ongoing conversations in every coaching session and the recalibrating and the checking in. And is our way of working together effective? And it's to do with return on investment. What are we measuring in terms of this leadership coaching? And so forth. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F. Always be contracting and deliberately fostering ethics. So there we go. So are we moving to Miro?
Yep.
Okay, so we are going to put, gosh, we got a lot. We're going to put a link in the chat. Click the link and that will take you to this Miro board.
So where do you want to focus first, Claire? So I bring them all to the board.
So if we go first to, let's do the few slides on systemic and we'll get that done. And then I think you sharing the agile work with leaders of late.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll do the psychometric.
So if you're doing something like the systemic coaching at the moment, we might not need them to join right now. They can look at it from the Zoom screen. And once we go to the activity, I'll share the link there.
Perfect. So here is just a few of a million things that's involved in systemic coaching. So it's a collaborative dialogue between 2 or more people, and bots, chatbots and AI and all sorts of different trendy ways of doing it can be part of the systemic conversations to keep them alive between sessions. It's about learning and developing in relation to. So for example, when we talk about in relation to, just have a think for yourself. What's your relationship to money? What's your mindset around money? Money is, answer that question. That is your relationship to money. And then all learning and development is relational. Systemic coaching is about adding impact. Now, here's the thing. To add impact, it needs to be long-term, transformational, and not just quick change. So systemic coaching with leaders isn't a few one-off coaching sessions. We tend to coach people for a year, between say 10 and 16 sessions, and for longer sessions and sometimes shorter sessions to keep them going. And then it's about increasing satisfaction. And it's also buying into the needs of the individuals, the team, and the whole organization, as well as the stakeholders out there. It's about WeQ, not IQ. It's about the knowledge in the system and uncovering that for the sake of the impact the leader needs to create with their people. And you can use it in any type of coaching. You know, so, I'm a teenager the other day having career coaching. How much is in their systems? There's the examination system and the way schools are at the moment, which has been alluded to already on this call. There's the parents and what they want them to do. There's their friends and where they're going to uni in the world. Oh, can you see how the systems at play? And then we've got the ecology and diversity, equity, inclusion that we've talked about. Generative thinking. What I like about what you said is this, and then we add our own thing. And then what got you here will not get you there. Why? Because the landscape's different. Increasing capacity for uncertainty and win, win, win. Reducing polarities. It's not here and here, and it's either or. There's a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth option in between those that may mean it benefits everyone. Any coaching that's systemic, even when it's one-on-one, brings the stakeholders' voice and their needs into the room.
Yes. The reason why when we talk about executive coaching and leadership coaching and the systemic approach, for us as coaches is the mindset when you go in and design your scope to work with that executive, give them the results in systemic version, which means our work together will impact the customer satisfaction in the end, you know, the sales performance, the defects rates. You're working with one executive or group of executive or team of executive. The work should have an impact on the system, not necessarily only on the individuals. So the way we put the KPIs on the outcomes of this engagement of the coaching with them is by end of 3 months or by end of 12 months, we're expecting these type of KPIs to come up. And they actually will co-create those KPIs. Right?
And so much of it, as we know in coaching, who are you being that will enable you to serve the system?
Mm-hmm.
That behavioral change that's needed.
Yeah. So what would that look like when it's not as business coaching? So let's say it's an NGO or a team of students. So when or because we are talking from the executive point of view. So what if it's an individual that you're coaching and the approach is looking at the systemic level outcome? How is this work will improve the entire family and the relationship? How is this work will have an impact on your department at work? Right?
And it even taps into legacy and life purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And by us spending this hour on this topic today, what will be the long-term transformational impact on the world? That takes a minute to think through. That is real systemic coaching. Yeah. Should we go left, Sameera? Let's just, yeah, just briefly. So we know about emotional intelligence and social intelligence, being aware of others. The relational systems intelligence, it's about tapping into the awareness of what's happening in the other parts of the nested systems, systems within systems. It's about expression of the system. And this system right now, what's a metaphor to describe what this system is experiencing? And it's about working collectively and generatively and growing together. And so many times leaders say, oh, the client, or, you know, the legal department. And of course, if we all lean in, we hear others' voices and we acknowledge things from their perspective. So deep democracy is important, listening beyond words. And another thing that's important is a wide angle lens of compassion. What ways can you, as an executive coach, be compassionate to all the parts of the system? And that means such self-management so that we are not colluding with the leader. Where should we go next, Sameera?
So we have two directions to go. I like the idea when you said it's the metaphoric work, and believe it or not, executives, they like metaphoric work once you build that trust with them to go into that experience. Like, let me bring you here. This is an example, right? With a high-tech company, the entire sales team with their team leader came in. The sales director and the key account managers, and these people were in the room, and I was there to look at them. It was a retrospective session. So they decided, okay, what are the things that we need in order to, you know, improve ourselves? And they start scoring themselves and made the line. And then they looked at it from, oh, we didn't see it this way. There was an open discussion between the team members and the director of the team. So it's what we can call team leader. But what team leader actually did here is, you know what, then sit down and tell me, what do we need to start, stop, and continue? So this is an actual work of the team. What I also noticed, Claire, the way you come in and do the activities and reflections with the executive, they go back and do the same with their team members. So this is an example of a high-end international car dealer brand. It's a GM. And we asked them, tell us who is who here. And they, him actually, you know, placed people there and said, I wonder how my other directors will look at this. So I want to facilitate one for them. So what's happening here? The coaching is enabling the coachee to use coaching competencies to lead their team. And then they brought their team in and they said, okay, let's see who is who or what is where. Right? So, because in Coach Me, we believe in playfulness. We believe in the idea of people can come in and have fun once you have the right trust model built. Right? So
And
it also, yeah, go
we're
ahead.
there as role models. So we model clean communication, powerful questioning, and so forth, so that then they can use it with their people. And that parallel does happen. They then transfer the positives into the organization. Sameera, sorry.
It's okay, Claire. So we would say, okay, Sameera, in what ways we can actually go in with any team leader or executive and experiment these things? Sometimes they don't like this, you know, open talks, or it sounds fluffy. So it all goes back to our API, right? If we built the right rapport with the team leader, they will trust us. If they trust us, the coaching conversation will share information. We will be able to pinpoint the right, I wouldn't say only problems, the right cases and issues. Therefore, the solutions out of these coaching sessions are agreed on. So it all starts with building the right rapport, which is our API, right? Authority, presence, and impact. what credentials we bring in, what portfolio we are putting up, what cases we have, what successes, or even sometimes failures we bring in on the table. Right? Am I making sense here?
And I think in that piece, there's also the pitching. What is the value proposition that we are sharing clearly from tried and tested experience that we've been through, but as well research out there that, for example, ICF and PwC have put together. The fact that executive coaching is empowering, it allows for clearer thinking, enhanced innovation because of support of psychological safety. It increases performance, not just for the leader, but way beyond. And they learn about themselves and they can leverage their strengths.
1 second, I'm having
And it also boosts cognition. This is one of the and increases agility. This is one of the reasons that, you know, we did that little quiz just as a test. We include in our programs always deep glossaries so that you can, you know, mini MBA, you could say, get to know and understand the terminology, because they will be using acronyms in these executive conversations, but also business as usual. With trust, get in there to observe them in their business as usual, their board meetings, and provide feedback. Now that is proper executive coaching at its best.
So Claire, when we talk about the drafting the proposal and, you know, putting the price, it's a different way of approach when we do it for teams or if we are doing it for individuals. I use the most code, you know, what do we need to, what is a must? If this is a coaching project, what is a must? Maybe one-to-one coaching is a must, right? What is something we should have? I mean, we should have 3 coaches as opposed to 2 coaches doing the executive coaching, right? What we could have, well, we could have some facilitation and psychometrics, if that's, and sometimes psychometric can become the must-have. So it's you designing that pitch, saying, okay, me seeing this team or this executive and looking at the need, what are the things that I will put in as a must? And what are the things that are, I should have put some of them, I can or could have. And what are the things you won't have? Because sometimes in certain projects, you won't even use the psychometric because that's irrelevant for that case. Right.
Absolutely.
So maybe a chat box activity. Tell us, what would you include in your executive proposal pitch for executive coaching? What would you include there? So I can find the constellation one. Yeah. What are you seeing, Claire, in the chat box?
So what have we got here? I'm still waiting.
Okay.
What do you put? Yeah, business content, the challenges that require attention.
Yep.
Relevant verbatim for the information gathered. And let's go to specifics. If there was 5 key things that need to go in a proposal for executive coaching, what needs to be in there? Do's and don'ts.
There we go.
So here we are. Some of the things that need to be costed. And when you start priorities, outcomes, absolutely. Yeah, case studies. So just think of some of the things here that you may not have considered before in terms of the costing. So when coaching executives, whether it's online and you're using these tools such as Miro, you're paying for that if you're not internal in an organization. So that is part of it. You know, even your internet bills if you're working from home, and then any profiling. your time between sessions as well as in sessions. Any branding or printing that's necessary, reporting and feeding back, that all takes time. And then any meetings at different phases of the project.
Yeah, because of sorry to cut you off here, Claire. Because of the meeting, you remember we have the Capital Club here in Bahrain, right?
Yes.
So I have one of the projects where, you know, the organization said, we want the executive to have meeting outside, not Zoom, and not in the client, the premises. So we booked the entire thing. Some of them was in the Capital Club, and then they changed some policies there. Then it happened to be in the Ritz-Carlton lobby. So that was a cost that we embedded in the proposal.
And time to travel there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that's really important, and I can't stress this enough, systemic team coaching, executive coaching, if you are not experienced, get supervision.
Mm.
Because there's so much learning in it for you to be able to then support in terms of restoring yourself, resourcing, recalibrating, benchmarking. And you do that out of the session, then you go back and you are there feeling, I am totally ready for this session. Even just like, I don't know where to go next with this person. Work that out with your supervisee. So should we go to the constellation?
Yeah. This takes us to, Claire, I'll give you an option. Where do you want to go today?
Ooh, wouldn't it be nice to travel?
Which one do you like?
Oh, the hill one that looks like Thailand with the big peaks.
Is this
To the
one?
left, to the left.
To
Oh,
the
let's
left,
go
to
to
the-
the nightclub.
Nightclub. Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah, let's go there.
And
Ready
I'll
to
share the
start?
link. Yep, I'll share the link. You can edit. Once you come here, once you use the link, I will bring you all to me. And we are ready to party.
You know, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, obviously, depending on the audience, depending on the executive or the team, get them to choose, but also using appropriate stimulus for this type of activity.
Yeah.
We must have felt comfortable and brave with you all to use the nightclub. So here's what we want you to do. Have a think about this. Click the link and then you will come to this board, and we've got some people there already.
Yeah.
You take a sticky, write your name on it, and you know what, if you're not experienced with Miro, don't worry, you can watch it from the Zoom screen and you can still do it anyway and write in the chat. Consider this, in terms of you and your skills, knowledge and behaviors as a team coach, where are you now metaphorically in that picture?
Great. We have 18 people. And if you are lost on the board, just follow me. So you can say follow Sameera or go to Sameera. I'm bringing everyone to me. So you guys are here. Great.
And then when you've had a little play and a thing, metaphorically, where am I in terms of my leadership, executive coaching?
Love that. I want to take a screenshot here.
Some people are next door on the football pitch. That's okay as well.
Yeah.
Do you know, we did the nightclub one with a team once, and one of the ladies said, oh gosh, it just doesn't resonate. I cannot get into this. I'm at a 5-star restaurant next door. Everything's flowing for me. And I am just totally calm and relaxed today with my team. So there's always something comes from being able to work with metaphors.
I like that they're playing around. It's like a big playground here. Great.
Yay. So what we'd love to do now is ask one of you to volunteer and take your mic off So we can show you that just an activity, the type of stuff we can do to explore this a little bit deeper. Who would like to be the person to take part?
And if you're done with writing, just click anywhere so we can see whatever you wrote there. Release the sticky note. Click anywhere else. In the crowd, dancing.
Yay!
I was on, you know,
edge of
near the pole. I was on the pole.
Brilliant.
So who wants to go? Kanan, release your card.
Just think as well, if you volunteer to do this, you'll get even more out of this call than the others who are listening. Nora, how about it?
I'm the one in the crowd dancing.
Hey! Okay, Nora, let's connect. And there's something I noticed, the color of the sticker also matches your top today.
See? Yes. And I
So-
choose the color, the blue color. Yeah.
What's
It's,
blue to you?
It's peaceful. It's clear. It's I feel clarity. I feel that I'm in the mood of for dancing. I want to mix with the crowd. I want to dance. I want to dance with everyone and feel the music and interconnect with everyone in the crowd. Yeah.
And I noticed when you said connect, you leant back and you did this, connect.
Absolutely.
What's there?
I'm taking my own system with my surrounding system on board. I'm recognizing and accepting the importance of me with my different system into. I'm stumbling forward as yesterday. I don't know, Vijay, if you remember how we stumbled forward all together, and I love that. Stumbling forward all together in the place.
And when you're stumbling forward all together in the place, what's the impact of your executive coaching on your clients?
I feel that I'm connected. I feel energized. I feel myself is my true sense of belonging. Being aware of my individuality into the system.
And what's the impact on them when you're on the dance floor?
I guess from where I'm sitting and from where I'm dancing, that they are enjoying the moment and they want to share that dance and they just want to come with me and curious. I think what the impact is that I gave them the sense of that would be nice to come to dance with me, and yeah, at least I feel curiosity.
In terms of you and your next step as a leadership executive coach, where's the next place for you metaphorically in this picture?
DJing, for sure.
That was easy. You said that so in flow, DJing. And when you're DJing, what's happening to the wider system that leader is in?
Yes, and yeah, and in that place, I can feel more connected, and I can see the faces more, and get the sense of the music, if they enjoy it or not. Having that helicopter views, even more, not that vertical, position, but helicopter views, getting more the sense of being connected with them and feeling and seeing and if the music is adapted or not.
Thank you. Nora, thank you so much for playing.
Thank you.
So the other thing you can do with this type of activity, let's say it's a leadership team, a team of directors, and they all say individually what's going on for them and what they need next. Now notice this is a systemic constellation, like a group of stars. And notice there's someone, you know, dipping the feet into the pool, and there's someone on the edges, on the fringe, you know, and they're figuring out a bit more about this party. There's someone enjoying the music. And I so wish we had time to enable all of you to say what's going on for you in that place. I'm noticing Kurt over there on the edge on that side. And just have a think for yourself.
Yeah.
Where am I now? And where do I need to be to serve my stakeholders even more impactfully? And what's one tiny step that I commit to get there? And we'd love to hear your answers in the chat, or even read them in the chat. Where am I now? Where do I need to be for the sake of my clients? And what's one thing that will get me there? Anyone, any answers?
I brought it here to, let me bring you all here. This is another example, as sometimes we allow the, the coachee who's, team leader, executive, even sometimes individuals, we would say, go pick a question that you want to answer, right? So you'll find all the questions related to all the elements of the model, but go pick a question that resonates with you, bring it to the middle, put your answers in, and let's talk about what results we want to reach. So they can actually move the card on the board and sit together and discuss that element, which questions they want to answer as a team or as an individual.
So we've actually got this model translated into Hindi as well, and we'll share that around in the slides. Like Tamil. We've got Hindi already. We translated it into Tamil this week. So the model has results in the center. Results is the focus. And all the other areas, there's no start or finish. You can dance around the whole model, or you can dive deeply into different elements of the model. Yeah. So for organizations, this was designed from research from 8 key models. Transition planning is one area that this model is unique about. Coping with setbacks, managing dependencies, celebrating the milestones along the way. Yeah. We totally advocate reflective practice, and we provide time in our leadership coaching sessions for leaders to do that, because they don't always make the time themselves. And action, of course, if we don't practice, then coaching sessions are nice. It's keeping that sustained impact, having the aha moments right there in the session. And then, of course, for performance management, skills, knowledge, and behaviors. So, what's going on for you right now? Any questions? We're moving to, I don't know where the time's gone. We're moving towards the end of the session. Any questions while I just bring up a few more slides? So, these are the types of things leaders need in the future. And what way can we enable them to understand what they really need? Here's a really useful slide for selling executive coaching. So the research behind it gets the buy-in from the decision makers. And so by showing the research from the many different places, that gives it gravitas. And you need buy-in from the top for any of this to take place. I was working for the last 3 years for Qatar Financial Centre in Qatar. You won't be surprised that it was in Qatar. And we won the ICF Regional Middle East Prism Award. Why? Buy-in from the top. And then enabling the directors to have executive coaching with 360 assessments. And then enabling coaching competencies to be the way we do things around here and aligned to the organizational values, using it strategically with, for example, client affairs. So they were coaching their people. So it starts becoming embedded into, hey, this organization coaches, it's not just an external coach coming in to coach executives. We covered a few of these slides. So the coaching programs we deliver are on different levels, mapped to the UK qualification framework. Level 5 is where we start on the executive team and board coaching, with level 6 being a certified executive coach. And then the level 7, which is equivalent to master's level, is actually certified mentor coach and supervisor of other coaches. So there's a few things here in terms of some of the things that we've gathered together. So systemic coaching can be prickly at times. It's not all smooth sailing. So you need to ensure that you've got a team of people around you that support you. If we've got those people with our backs, we can work more effectively with our clients.
So don't worry, we will send you all the slides in PDF format. You will receive it all in your inbox. We will share it with the ICF Chennai chapter, and definitely they will be in touch with you for that.
And we've had this translated this week, and as you know, with translations, sometimes it can be 3rd, 4th and 5th drafts. If anyone's got any comments, we would absolutely love your comments on the translation. There's a little bit more information on the model there, and here's one thing I really wanted to show you. First meeting with an executive. What do you need to prepare to go into that meeting? Who do you need to be in that meeting for it to be the most effective meeting, beginning with the end in mind? What do you need to ask? What do you need to hear from them? What do you need to notice systemically, even all the way from the car park and the way you're treated at reception? All of this is data. What do you need to understand and leave them with? How much will you share? Will you share pricing at this stage? And having this in that meeting is really useful. Specifically, what needs to be shared? What way will this engagement be measured? Who's accountable for what? What ways can we partner together to achieve it? And so forth. Just keep this alive and keep going through it. We mentioned about costing and different ways that you can look at executive coaching engagements. Sometimes it's about being on a retainer, 10 hours per month with this organization, and it can be a clinic approach and anyone can come to you. And then in terms of skills, what do you need to upskill? We've got a Coach Me community. Monthly, there's at least 2 complimentary events. Reach out, come and join us. We've had graduates from the BNP Paribas, Lego, Talabat have been involved in our programs. Come and join us. And we do things like generative thinking together so we can practice skill drills, but also sharing the knowledge and hearing in a safe space from other coaches out there at your level and the ones who are just that little step above, it's invaluable, and it's a global community. And then, what's the high dream and low dream for the project? What's the low-hanging fruit that can change quickly to have impact? Deep democracy is needed for a systemic focus, understanding things through different lenses. I do like that picture of that pool there.
Yeah, it gives a lot of perspectives there, right? It's like we all came into the deep side of the session now. So guys, I've posted the form, which you can request your CCEs. By filling that, I'll keep that open for only 15 minutes. Once you're done, submit that form and we can get back to you.
And with it being the weekend now, it will be Monday or late Sunday, Monday, when we can send you your CCE certificate. Just finally, we have so much stuff. We'll just send these slides over. This is a sort of platinum model for leadership development. We do individual profiles and map them for whole teams. This is a leadership 360 profile on key areas that have been researched. We use Savile Wave for this. It's Fabulous Report 360. And then we've also got mapped to the model data from the whole system, even external stakeholders, about how the team leader and how the team are performing. And then from that, you also get narrative that brings the data to life. Now, if your executive project is working from data, that's where real transformation takes place. It's not hearsay. We triangulate the data. A number of your stakeholders are saying this, and so that needs to be top priority for you as a leader. And in all of this, have empathy for yourself and have empathy for the leaders that we are working with and every single bit of the system that's connected to them. I feel like we're complete. That was quite a lot. Any comments, questions, observations that you'd like to share? And thank you for the clap, Kurt.
Dr. Clare, Sachin Jain here. I really like the way this relationship systems you have explained. And it's really eye-opening for me, because I just attended one of the ILA trainings wherein it was, I think this was missing. Today I got this bigger view of how executive coaching should be done. Thank you, Dr. Clare.
Thank you. And I love the way you've used the word should be done. Absolutely, it's strong, it's powerful. We've been coaching like this for at least 8-10 years. And even in the first hour of our coach training, we stress it's a systemic approach, because that's where the best transformation happens. Any other questions or comments? From myself and Sameera, I was just going to thank you there. Thank you to the fabulous Chennai team. They manage this project really effectively, jumping online, checking out the technology, you know, helping us to understand what your actual chapter needs and the approach for delivery. So thank you for your support today.
Thank you, Sameera. Thank you, Claire. I'll share what really stands out as my experience. Being on the dance floor was super powerful. I can see myself taking action from there. Wonderful. I mean, a sea of possibilities has really opened up for me. Thank you so much. And I'm going to really hand over the floor to Vijay.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Yes, so I think I'm still in the mode of what was going on for the last 90 minutes. It's going to take me a while to reset and come from there. So I've been really thinking of my own practice and applying all of this and just seeing what's coming up and what I have missed and what I have been mindful of. So Dr. Clare, Sameera, thank you so much for not just running such a fantastic session. I think the comments in the chat box, says it all. But I would, in particular, like to acknowledge something, very special that, I know you all run a very tight schedule and there's lots of stuff that you're focusing on. But the moment I reached out, everything was taped up, I think, within 48 hours, which I think is a wonderful leadership quality, right? To be able to just get it done and jump in. Thank you so much for that. We really acknowledge it. And about the session itself, I think it was a wonderful blend of introspection, of course, lots of activity, and also I think some very practical tips and tricks, if I may say so, right? Because it's one thing to do it in concept at a theory level, which I think a lot of us know, but to break it down into realistic bite-sized chunks was very, very useful. So on behalf of the Chennai Charter Chapter and all the coaches here, a big round of thanks to both of you for your enthusiasm and generosity. And I also want to acknowledge all the lovely coaches who are not from Chennai, Ireland, the UAE, Doha, I don't know which other places, for coming here, Bombay, Bangalore, for just joining us and truly kind of making this a very systemic webinar, if I may say so, because we have people not just from Chennai, but lots of stakeholders from everywhere. So that's very exciting.